Good morning, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Tuesday Training. Man, I am excited. It's been a great week. I just got back from Las Vegas. Like, come on, Las Vegas. Who doesn't like to go to Las Vegas? I didn't do very well on the tables though. I got murdered on the craps tables. Did win a little bit on the blackjack table though, but I was there for the Digital Life Insurance Agent Mastermind. It was an absolutely outstanding event. I think we had 8 or 9 speakers, if my memory serves correct. Great speaker lineup, actionable content. One of those speakers is here today to hang out with us on the show. I'm super, super pumped to bring him on. But, just a few other aesthetics. I don't know if you saw this cool shirt. This is from my buddy, Ali Saleh, and his new brand, The Invested American. He's been running around on tour with my pal Cody Askins as well. So a lot of stuff been going on right before AEP this year, right? We got events going. We got the Ultimate Agent Tour going out there. Syndicate is blowing up, right? You don't even know the half of it yet. Some of the stuff that we have coming for y'all. There's some big announcements coming. I'll just say this. Let's just say Monday and Thursday. Right. I don't know if they're going to happen Monday or Thursday. I'm just telling you they're related to Monday and Thursday. Big news coming. So check this out real quick. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Make sure that you tell Facebook to allow your StreamYard comments. It's a simple little click. I think the link's right up there. Just click on that. And that way, when you make comments, right, like Joe Fazier's doing over here, you are not a stranger. I actually know who it is, and we can call you out, talk to you on the show. A couple other just quick announcements, man. If you know anybody out there that is looking to get on any of the shows that we do on the Syndicate, man, give us a holler. This is our trainer spotlight show, right? Tuesday's training is designed for some of the industry experts and trainers to come on, spotlight themselves, and coach you guys up on stuff. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. I've got a good buddy of mine. He is the Mad Russian himself, Michael Binyaminov. He was just, like I said, he was just out at the Digital Life Insurance Agent Mastermind with me. Now, Michael, if you don't know Michael, if you haven't met him, I met him at events. Another reason why I love events, you get to meet great people like this. But Michael is a former high-volume life insurance producer turned ACA geek. So now he's killing it in the ACA space, writing hundreds of apps a month, and he is here to show you exactly that. So let's get him up here, chat with him a little bit before he goes gangbusters on all of us. What is going on, my friend?
Hey, not much, man. Just another beautiful day in Dallas, Texas. Can't complain.
That's right. Now, you just moved to Dallas recently, didn't you?
Yep, April.
Like in the last year,
moved
April?
out here. However, I'll be real honest with you. We travel so much for work stuff. I think I've maybe lived here 2 months, maybe 3 out of the last 6. It's crazy when you think about the statistic of it, but it is what it is, man. That's what happens when you're trying to grow.
Right. You were in Arizona previously. What, Phoenix?
Yes, sir. Phoenix, one of the best cities in the world.
Right. And what brought you back to Dallas or to Dallas?
Truth be told, it was actually ACA, and this sounds kind of dorky, but my best friend and business partner said, hey, like, we're going to go, originally it was, hey, we're going to go really big into the Medicare space this year. Let's do that. And then right around like early April, late in March, he was like, hey, we really need to give this ACA thing a hard looking at. And so I made the conscientious decision, like, let's go ahead and rip up my life here in Arizona. I'll move to Dallas, which is a much more centralized location. Let's really build out this ACA side of our business. And that's what we've been doing for the last 6 months.
Right on. Right on. You talked about it quite a bit at the Digital Life Insurance Mastermind in Vegas, mm-hmm. right? That was your whole topic, was ACA, what the kind of the business is about, what the market's about. I think some people believe there's no money in ACA. Is that a bunch of garbage?
I mean, it is a bunch of garbage. The only truth to it is there's no money up front. So a lot of this is actually kind of funny. A lot of the MLMs of this industry will never touch ACA. You want to know why? There's no money in it in the very first 2 to 3 months for them.
Okay.
Right.
And that's just because there's no advances. It's all paid as earned, right?
Yeah, it's not. And it's not just that. There's the override is so slim if you can get one on production. Like it's a much longer term vision, and it's a volume play. And so if your big thing is we're going to recruit 1,000 people and we're going to get bonuses on recruiting people, yeah, you're going to fail out of ACA immediately.
Fair enough.
Exactly. ACA is a product of hard work and a lot of effort the first 6 to 9 months that you're in it. And then after that, you're almost in like a farmer type role where you're cultivating your book of business and, you know, trying to stay level headed. Not to say
Okay.
there aren't some megalomaniacs out there who are like, I want 7,000 clients. And I'm like, oh, wow. I can't imagine managing 7,000 clients. That'd be depressing.
That would about, I don't know if depressing is the right word. Might be a little overwhelming at times, but you know, you
It would
outsource
be.
a little help and you can probably knock it out.
I
What
mean,
go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say the amount of effort that, like, if you have like 7,000 clients, like, I'm just like doing the math in my head. Like, you have 7,000 clients, you're probably gonna have a staff of like 4 VAs at that point, or maybe
Right.
like one like US based full time assistant handling all of, like, it could it be done? Yeah. I mean, do you really need that? Probably not. I tell my agents personally, like, the milestones you need to hit is 1,000 lives or clients, however you want to address it, 1,000, 1,500, and then 2,000.
Okay.
Right? If you hit one of those three, you live a very good style of life, right? Because a lot of the biggest issue that we have in the life insurance space, basically just the life insurance space, because Medicare and PNC are very renewal heavy. In the life insurance space, you're starting from, you know, zero every single month, right? Nobody cares you did 100,000 last month. Sorry to say it. No one cares. We only care about what you do this month. And the reason why is because not only is your upline dependent on overrides a lot of the time from this current month, but you personally, the producer, are depending on the production that you're doing this month, not last month. Renewals in the life insurance space are very slim. Best carrier I've ever seen do renewals is like, you know, 12 or 15%. And that's a much lower first year commission. So that's a much longer term play. Whereas ACA, it's all as earned. Same thing like with the Medicare space. A lot of the reason why everyone gets in the Medicare world is to make their book of business, to make their renewals better.
Yeah, it's definitely a renewal play there. You know, we do get advanced, thankfully, in the Medicare space, which helps us make a little bit of cheese up front, but ultimately, yeah, it's the renewal play.
Exactly.
ACA seems to have kind of exploded over the last couple of years. Like, I've noticed a lot of agents just won't stop talking about it. They're going crazy. Agents are gravitating from the Medicare space into ACA. They're gravitating from life into ACA. If there's no advances and it's just an as-earned income and the renewals are slim, what's with the massive kind of migration over into that space and the explosion? What's causing that?
I was going to say, I think it's a perfect storm between two things. So, like, on the Medicare space, as the Medicare regulation went up, the ACA regulation remained level or less even. So you have these agents who, I don't want to say that they're not ethical, because that's definitely not the truth. But it's agents who are like, man, why do I have to do all these extra steps just to go help somebody get a Medicare plan when I can quite literally go to the ACA space? There's no scope of appointment. There's no, the marketing rules are far more relaxed. And it's infinitely easier to write a policy. Like, you know, I'll ask you very straightforward, Tony, when you're face to face, how long does it take you to write an MAPD? 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour?
If I'm starting from zero, I'm looking at probably 45 minutes to an hour. If I have some of my intake work done up front, then probably 20 minutes.
Gotcha. So an ACA will take you, I mean, my phone script is like, you know, we're going to be done with this in 7 minutes, Mary. You're going to have health insurance. So that's somebody who's been doing it for a while. I know what to do on Health Sherpa, the enrollment platform. I know where to go and what to look for. And I've seen all the weird cases already. So it's not like me going to my upline like, oh my God, this lady has 3 legs. What do we write her? They're like, just write her an ACA, dude. Like, she has 3 legs. It doesn't matter. So like an ACA is much faster. And, you know, in some states, like, I really didn't want to talk numbers. However, I'm going to give people some ideas. In the Medicare world, when you're in like a not California, PA, or I think Jersey, those are the 3 higher paying states. When you're in one of the other states, you're, you know, getting your 580 if they're a true up, and then you're getting your 250, I believe it is renewal, but they just changed that for this year.
Right.
But well, let's do the round numbers. In the Medicare space, your second year when you're getting a renewal, it's $25 a month per person, right? I think it's like $23.67 or something. We'll say it's 25. In a state like Florida, for instance, there are 3 carriers out there that will pay you $30 a head per month in renewal. So you start like thinking the math out behind this. Like, man, I write a family of 4. All 4 of them can get this plan. I'm getting paid $30 a head. It took me 15 minutes to do it without all of the like regulations or all the hoops to jump through and all the marketing constraints, versus it took me 45 minutes to do this Medicare app. and I'm going to get paid 25.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure a lot of these producers sat there at some point, they did the math, and they're like, Jesus, for instance, my average agent who's full-time, they'll do roughly 50 lives a week in the SEP period right now, because we're really focusing on lower income folks. And we just happen to have some trickle in who have qualifying life events. And it's like, we do 50 lives a week. Every state and every carrier is different in terms of commission, but I say the average commission is roughly $20 a head per month. So you're thinking the math out, and it's like, how many Medicares can you possibly do during an SEP period? 10, 12, maybe 15.
Well, you can't market to them. So you can't market to SEP specifically in the Medicare space. So that's going to limit you.
Exactly.
You're relying on people landing on you or knowing that there's people in your book of business that might qualify for that SEP. Right?
Exactly.
Or somebody that you spoke to 3 weeks ago and you're like, oh, wait, now I can write Fred because this SEP's here.
Exactly. Or you're like really focusing on like LIS or low income subsidy,
right,
or DSNP leads, which, say what you want, but those don't have the best retention, because if they find out like, oh, there's a $50 extra flex card or $50 extra whatever the heck with this carrier, oh, there's zero loyalty. They'll jump immediately.
DSNPs bounce pretty quick, I'm aware.
Exactly. So the retention isn't the best on that. Not saying it's not good, but it's not the best. So, you're definitely limited. So it's like, I can do 50 in 1 week on the ACA side with an SEP if I'm working diligently, versus, maybe 5 to 10 Medicares. And it's like, you start doing the math on that, and it's like the ACA definitely wins. And the beauty of it too is, what can you pitch to an ACA person on the same phone call?
Pretty much anything. All right, cool.
Right.
Well, one question that we have that jumped right up is, what is the retention in the ACA arena? I don't want to get too deep because we're about to turn the stage over to you for your lesson, which is how to excel in the ACA open enrollment. But real quick, like, what kind of retention are you getting in your ACA business?
So it really depends on volume of the book. Obviously, the more people that you have, the more people you have to go through at the end of every month. I would say like my agency's average retention is between 85 to 90% month over month. The ones who are very diligent, or they have better systems in place, they're closer to like 90 to 95% month over month. The beauty of the ACA is it's not difficult to retain them. The only difficulty is the mass amount of data you have to go through. So for instance, in my book of business, where I have roughly 1,000 heads to go through every month, my retention is closer to about 85%, mostly because I have to sit there and go through a lot of these records individually. Now, my newer agents who are like 250 to 450 clients they have to go through, they're closer to about the 95% mark, because it's just significantly less data for them to go through every month.
Okay, fair enough. All right, man. Well, my understanding is you're here to teach them how to excel at ACA open enrollment. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Oh, baby, I'm ready. I was born ready.
Are you guys ready? I hope so, because here it comes. Mr. Binyaminov, the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So let's go ahead and start off with some fundamental basics, right? The first thing you need to be doing in the ACA space is you need to do one of two things. A, have an automated CRM that's going to do a lot of the legwork for you. And B, you have to have access to either a really solid lead flow or a really solid organic marketing plan. Now, the number one hurdle I hear is cash burn. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing for people in my position. The good thing is we have quality agents who enter the marketplace because they have money, right? They've either invested in a business plan, they've gotten some sort of loan, or they're successful in some other line of business that they have the cash to burn for about 3 to 4 months in order to go full bore into the ACA space. If you are not that person that I mentioned and you don't have the funds up front, I'm going to tell you the secret right now. What you're going to do is you're basically going to canvas some local businesses. The best businesses to go to is food and beverage. I made a joke at the mastermind in Vegas over the weekend, and I said my favorite employee of all time, or my favorite folks to target, is food and beverage. And I happen to say, like, hey, like if they work at like diners, best clients in the world, right? Number one, they will definitely fit the income demographic for the SEP period, or they'll be pretty close to it, right? Number two, this demographic, for whatever reason, doesn't even go to the doctor to begin with. So it's next to no service work, right? And number three, they're so thankful to finally have quality health insurance because maybe their employer doesn't provide it, or what they do have is kind of poo-poo, or they don't have enough hours to be considered full-time. they're so happy to have health insurance, they will refer you every human being they've ever met in their life. And like that's just the running secret. You go to a lot of these diners. I was actually thinking, I was like, man, I wonder what these casino employees get if they're working part-time. So it's like one of the things in the back of my head, like maybe Tony and I go up to WinStar, which is right on the border between Texas and Oklahoma. We start asking like, hey, what do the part-time folks get for health insurance? Because Oklahoma is what's considered an FFM state. And then Texas, where some of these other people might live, is also an FFM state. But more on that later. So I think to myself, like if you have no money or you have little money, the best thing you can do is you can brand yourself in your own marketplace. What I mean by that is everyone and their mother wants health insurance. They all do. But the biggest misconception about health insurance in America is that it's expensive. Subsidy money has been granted by Congress for the next 3 years. What that means is that out of, you think about every American in the country, and they say these subsidies are supposed to at least be like you can qualify for some form of subsidy if you're, so you have like the top 20% of Americans. If you're in that other 80 percentile, you qualify for some form of subsidy. Out of that 80 percentile, right? It's like either 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 people qualify for health insurance that's less than $20 a month. What this means is if you're somebody who, let's say, lives in Georgia and you're sitting, let's say you're a single person, you make $25,000 a year, so pretty common for the food and beverage sector, you're going to get a subsidy between $300 to $400, maybe up to $700 a month to pay for your health insurance. And now you're only paying $20 or $30 for quality health insurance coverage. These subsidies are here for the next 3 years. Job security for all of us ACA agents. I was cheering this thing on when it passed. I really didn't like the idea of all the taxes I have to pay later on it, but that's neither here nor there. It's job security for 3 years. So if you don't have money, these are the folks that you're going to go and ask these questions to. Or just think about, any like retail position, places where people really aren't getting 40 hours a week, so they're not full time. So they're not being offered health insurance packages. You got to think these things out. If you want to go ahead and do your own reading, there is other sectors where you can go to small businesses as well and offer them what's called IRCAs. It's individual HRAs. And so not too well read on that. However, that does exist. You can do your own reading on this and maybe perhaps approach small businesses under 50 employees and see what you can do to help them as well. Now, if you do have the money and you do have the time to do ACA, because ACA isn't time intensive, but in the very beginning, when you're still learning what you're doing, it does take some learning, it does take some time. I actually call it the hand-holding period. Every time I have a new agent start, usually for the first 3 days, I can expect them to call me about 20 to 30 times. Like I said, like they'll freak out, like, oh my God, this lady has 3 legs. It's like, just write her an ACA, dude. ACA is guaranteed issue. All right. Like you don't have to sit there and go through a 45-minute health questionnaire. It's not like it's not like a certain carrier that pulls a lot of amendments on us. It's none of that. It's guaranteed issue. The application itself can be done in 7 minutes or less. It's all done through the most common place that people are using for enrollment is Health Sherpa. That's just the industry standard currently. The other ones that are out there either aren't as good, they're not as compliant, they're a little clunky. So Health Sherpa is what we all stick with. That application can be done in 7 minutes because there's only a few boxes you really need to pay attention to when you're going through the entire application. So when you're having your phone conversations or your text conversations with people, you really only need about 8 or 9 pieces of information: first name, last name, address, date of birth, household size, income, either monthly or annually. It really doesn't matter. Just get it somehow and you can do the math in your own head. And Sherpa will actually do the math for you if you really want it to. And then you need their full social for anybody who's applying. You get those pieces of information, you can get a health insurance plan written. If they have a premium attached to it, that's not a big deal. You go ahead and add the carrier into the cart at the end. You get them enrolled, you get it submitted. There's actually a pay premium button on the actual dashboard for the client. And so you can actually click pay premium and you can actually set up the client's auto pay for them right there on the phone or via text, or at point of sale, you can set up their auto pay. Client doesn't want to give you payment information. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been stopped by somebody when you're like, I need your banking information. They're like, get out of my house, you weirdo. You don't need their payment information if they have a premium. You can quite literally say, call a carrier and do it yourself. Here's the 800 number. Here's the payment phone number. So you'll never get that, I don't want to give you my bank account information question ever again. Which brings me back to my other point on how to excel in this. A lot of people are having issues getting socials from people. I don't see that as an issue anymore. Truth be told, there's a few ways of writing an ACA application. You really don't need somebody's social to write an ACA application. You can write it completely without it. The social is an optional box. However, if you don't get the social, the plan cancels itself in 90 days because they can't verify that they're a U.S. citizen or have qualifying status. Therefore, the plan goes kaput and they don't have health insurance anymore. So when I have that issue over the phone and someone says, hey, I don't want to give you my full social, I'm like, great, I don't want it either. There's 3 ways that this can go down. Number 1, you give me your social. This is done in about 7 minutes, quick and easy. You go back to your day. I go back to helping clients. Number 2, I don't do it with a social. We write the application. In 90 days, the policy expires. So you personally can go call the marketplace and you can give them the 800 number and say you can go ahead and add your social with them. But it's a pain in the butt. They're going to want documentation from you. It is what it is, but that's your choice. Number 3, I write it without the social. As soon as I finish writing this application, you're going to get an email from 3 places. Healthcare.gov is going to email you saying, congratulations, you've been enrolled in a marketplace plan. Health Sherpa or Health Markets or whatever it's called in the email, I can't remember, is going to email you saying, hey, congratulations, your application's almost completed. Please click this link to verify your identity, aka add your social security number in. And number 3, sometimes you get an email from the carrier saying, welcome to whoever the heck for 2022, enjoy our plan. Once you get that email, you'll know I'm legitimate. And then you can just give me your social. I add it into your application right now. It's done. You have health insurance. Those are the 3 options. And so when I've said those things, I've had, I have over 1,000 heads in my book of business. I've had somebody object to that less than like 0.5% of the time. I think I used to have a board where it was like the weirdest rebuttals I've ever heard in ACA. And I had like 8 of them on there. And 2 of them were like, I still don't want to give you my social. I'm like, sick. I wrote the application anyway. I'm like, and then I told them in 90 days, your policy will cancel if you don't follow the link and verify your identity. Did they do it? I don't know. We're coming up to the 90th day. So I'll go back and search through it and see what happened with it. But that's just the idea behind it. The 2 most sensitive pieces of information, you truthfully don't need to get it from the client in order to write an application, which is beautiful because it is the biggest hangup of all life insurance agents and even P&C agents. Medicare agents, what you guys deal with is, I don't want to get my red, white, and blue card. There's no red, white, and blue card in the ACA space. And now the next piece that I want to discuss is truthfully how to use ACA leads to propel the rest of your business lines. There's very few agents who are just doing ACA. Very few that they're like, I'm only doing ACA. When you sit down with an ACA client, they're in this demographic, usually between about ages 18 to 64. I know every life insurance agent's like, oh my God, 18 to 64. That's my mortgage protection clients. Those are the absolute best people to go for life insurance. Because let me ask you the question. Usually they don't have a budget when you're talking about life insurance. Ask them if they have health insurance. Just ask them. What are you paying for it? If they're making that, there's a written rule. If they're making if their health insurance through their employer is over a certain percentage, they can drop that and get an ACA plan with a subsidy. So ask them what they're paying for their health insurance. Just ask. Right? This is a guaranteed issue health insurance plan. We don't care about pre-existings. We don't care about medications. We don't care about hospitalization. None of that. We don't care. It's guaranteed issue. What happens when you save them, I don't know, $50, $100, $200 a month on their health insurance costs? What are you going to do with that excess that's been sitting there? If you didn't say life insurance or an ancillary or even some P&C stuff that they might be lacking, you're wrong. These are people who have budgets. They're younger. They're usually healthier. They can get these kinds of plans, right? And the beauty of that is when you're getting the upfront advances on those kinds of product lines, it really helps sustain your ACA book. My business partner and I sat down, we did the math, and we said, you know what? If you can write $80 a month worth of life premium every week, so like 2 $40 a month plans or a 60 and a 20, however you want to do the math, you write $80 a month in life insurance. business at like a 100% contract, which is a little bit low, but you write on 100%, you will be able to pay your entire lead spend for the week. That's, 2, maybe 3 policies, small ones, right? Every week. You can sustain yourself. Now, if you're trying to help them with some ancillary stuff, dental vision is the biggest one, because a lot of these ACA plans, while some of them might include dental vision, they're usually not very good. Smaller networks, a lot of dentists don't want to accept them. A lot of eye care places really don't want to touch that stuff because it's not the easiest thing to bill in the world when it's a separate service. So dental vision is always the number one cross-sell opportunity that you have. Quite literally, all of us on here are most likely 1099s. Ask yourself if you have dental coverage, and ask yourself the last time you went to the dentist. And if I was to pitch you and say, hey, $35 a month or $55 a month for the absolute best dental plan there is, we'll go ahead and give you your 2 cleanings, your 2 x-rays, your 2 whatever the heck's for the rest of the year, every year, $50 deductible for the year. It's 35 or 55 or 20 or whatever the plan you choose is. It's a very easy cross-sell because people actively want that service. They want that service way more than they want life insurance or an umbrella policy on P&C. Way more. Can you offer these people cancer plans? Of course you can. What is it? Like 1 out of every 3 adults is going to get cancer? Give them a cancer plan. Oh, you have a really high deductible. Just based on the plans in your area aren't very good. You have an $8,700 annual deductible. Give them a critical illness plan. Give them a hospital indemnity plan. All that stuff is applicable for the ACA market because they need that. And while you're sitting with them, you got to imagine these are younger, healthier people. Do they have cars? Do they have houses? Do they have apartments? Do they rent? Holy crap, the P&C cross-sell opportunity is huge to these people because you already have them on the phone. Well, what's to stop you from saying, hey, do you live in a house? Can I quote your homeowners? Can I quote your car insurance? Like, give me 30 seconds. I'll figure out if I can save you some more money. Or because we were able to help you with your P&C, let's see if we can up your coverages or up your protections on your P&C. It's huge. ACA is the best and the lowest cost lead currently to access the rest of your book of business or access the rest of the product lines you're offering. The absolute best. And I'll die on that hill, right? You can generate ACA leads, in our own agency, we're looking at like the low teens right now, just because we're not in open enrollment. In open enrollment, there's 2 schools of thoughts. We all think the cost is going to go up dramatically because everyone's going to be in it. Everyone's going to be marketing, and there's elections or whatever the heck happening again this year. Or we also think it's going to go drastically lower because now a lot more people can be influenced to go get an ACA plan. Right now, it's a very small demographic that fit within a certain income bracket, or people who are, moving, losing coverage, getting married, having kids, getting out of jail, qualifying life events. So I still think it is one of the lowest cost leads you can get to sell literally anything else. Now, the last piece that I want to discuss about excelling in the ACA space for this upcoming open enrollment is control. The number 2 issue I see with my agents after the number 1 issue is always like them personally freaking out, like, oh my God, what do I do in this circumstance? Oh my God, what do I do? The next biggest issue is control. Call control specifically. You'll be on the phone with these clients. You got to remember something. You are the one who got licensed, and you are the one who's helping them, right? In the life insurance world, or in the P&C world, even in the Medicare world, you're like, oh my God, I need to make this sale. Oh my God, I need to make this sale. In the ACA space, dude, if somebody gets belligerent with me on the phone, or they're how should I put it? There's somebody I don't want to have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, I hang up the damn phone. I hang up the phone, I'll stop texting, I'll block them. I don't need that in my life, right? I need peace, right? I got into the ACA space because I want to build a book of renewals, live peacefully. You'll find me on a beach in like Cancun or something every once in a while. Like, I want peace, I want relaxation. You don't need that in your life. Control, it's huge. I tell my agents, like, listen, dude, my call script is, Mary, my name is Michael. I work with the marketplace to help people get health insurance plans through a variety of carriers. I'm a broker. My job is to get you a health insurance plan, and I can do that in the next 7 minutes or less. If I'm doing anything more than being on the phone with you for 7 minutes, I've started my comedy routine. You need to stop me. What I have here in front of me is your name is XYZ, XYZ. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. I have your address as this and this. Is that correct? Yes. Your date of birth, this? Correct. Okay. Like, you just call control. 7 minutes, we're going to be done. You're already placing in the head that this is going to be fast and easy. They don't have time to ask you 1.5 billion questions until you get to the actual carriers. And the beauty of Health Sherpa, or honestly any of the enrollment platforms, it'll give you every option available in the state or in the county or in the city, depending on how the states are stacking them up correctly. And you can sit there and say, hey, listen, so this is the only time that you let them really get a few sentences out, is at the very end when you say, hey, I have the plans here in front of me. You're going to get a subsidy of $500 a month to help pay for your health insurance. Do you have any doctors that you really like that you want to keep? They'll tell you. Say, okay. And there's actually like a little bar at the very top where you can type the name of the doctor in. And if they show up, you select them. And then you can actually search plans by doctors who will accept that automatically. It's a beautiful system. Ask them, hey, are there any medications that you're taking currently that are not generics? Have that put in there, and you can actually see a projected cost of the medications that they're going to be on. That is the only time where you relinquish control, is when you need doctors or medications. Outside of that, if they have no doctors, no medications, they're an awesome client, first off. You should definitely be selling them some life insurance. You ask them very straightforward, hey, I have these 3 plans. These are the top 3, silver, bronze, whatever metal level they're qualifying for. Say, I have these top 3 plans from these 3 carriers. Or honestly, there's some places where there's only 2 carriers available. Makes your life really, really easy. So you have these 3 carriers and you say, hey, here are your 3 options. Sometimes they have like ratings in the top. In the Medicare space, you're not really supposed to talk about ratings. In the ACA space, it's kind of open to interpretation. I don't personally talk about ratings, but it's good to know in the back of your head, like, hey, this carrier is really good in this area on a consumer. Like consumers have given feedback saying this is a really good plan. This one's unrated, so they can go both ways. But it's good to have this in the back of your head and say, hey, I have these 3 plans. They're all relatively equivalent in the benefits that they offer. This top one, the cost to see a doctor is this, cost to see a specialist is this, cost to get generics is this. Here's your maximum out of pocket. Here's your deductible. Do you want this one? Yes or no? No? Okay, here's the next one. And so the carriers actually are stacked in Health Sherpa from like best to worst. However, the best to worst is very open to interpretation. It usually does it by either deductible, max out of pocket, overall cost. It is what it is. What I'll usually do sometimes too is you can compare all 3 plans at the same time. And there's this magical box kind of in the middle of the page that says estimated all-in cost, how much they'll pay for the year for medical coverage if they were to go see a doctor twice, go to the ER once, and have 3 generic medications. It's just a very good projection. It'll show you that. And sometimes I'll actually send a screenshot of that page to my clients and say, which one do you want? But what I'll do is I'll cut off the 3 carrier names. I don't want bias. There's a few carriers in the ACA space that kind of had a bad name in the very beginning of ACA enrollments in like 2013, 2015. I don't want people to see that. I want people to choose it based on what the plans offer themselves. Now comes the last bit, is how do you manage your book of business? There's a few ways of doing it. Number 1, in my cool down, after I enroll somebody, I tell them magical words. Don't fill another freaking lead on Facebook, Google, anything. Don't fill any of that stuff out. If you have questions, you have problems, you have concerns, text me. I will answer your question so fast, it'll blow your mind. Because if they fill out another lead, you will most likely lose this to somebody else, and it's a pain in the butt. Because you're already operating on like a loss, usually in the first month, and you're making your money back month 2. You don't want to extend out your break even or your profitability point by having them fill out more leads. So I tell them, don't fill out any more leads. I'm your agent. You have issues, you come to me. I fix this really fast. ACA is so easy to service in that regard. But I tell them, don't fill out any more leads. The next thing I tell them is, if you go to your doctor and they happen to say, for whatever reason, we don't accept this plan, even though the marketplace said that, don't freak out. It's okay. Pay whatever you have to. Ask the doctor to their face, what plans on the marketplace do you accept? You can call me or text me and say, this is what they want, and I will give you that immediately. No questions asked. And that's the beauty of it. The next question, the next thing I tell them is, if you have any referrals, you can go ahead and send them to me. Or if you have anybody else you know who's struggling to find health insurance, I'm the guy. Send them to me. I'm going to give them the exact same level of service, and we're going to get this done that fast. So I did get a question asking about VA service staff, how I service these things. I currently do it all myself. Like I said, there's like a magical point at 1,000 clients. So I got to tell my agents, you have 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. At 1,000, you can still do everything yourself. At 1,500, you're getting yourself at least one VA to handle the service stuff. But truth be told, the service requests for ACA are extremely minimal from my book of business that I've seen. I maybe have like 15 to 20 text messages a month from clients asking about something. And the most common issue is, hey, I never received my insurance cards in the mail. Okay, that's no problem. What I do at that point is I go into the carrier portal directly, and I will go ahead and either text it to them or I can email it to them, because you can get their insurance card right there. That's the most common complaint that I've seen. The next most common is like, hey, my doctor doesn't accept it. I'm like, great, what do they take? Just tell me. I'll give it to you. No questions asked. Right? There are times where like I think in the back of my head, like, man, this carrier paid this much and like this one pays this much. Like, but at the same time I think about it, it's client retention. You shouldn't care about a few dollars a month in commissions. It's client retention. That's huge. Ask any like true business owner who's been in business in any industry for more than a decade. Ask them, what does it cost more money to do? Get a new client or keep a client? It's keep your clients. It costs way more money, and it's far more profitable to keep these people on the books than it is to go hunt somebody down new. In the life insurance world, it was, when I was in it, it was don't chase, replace. In the health insurance world, it's keep everyone on the damn book. It's a completely different mindset. And the beauty to that is if you give 6 to 12 months of hard work and effort into the ACA space, you will have a monthly residual between $15,000 to $25,000 a month. And I want everyone who's on this call listening or in the future recordings or whenever, sit down, think in the back of your head, can you live comfortable on $15,000 to $25,000 a month if your overhead is maybe $2 to $3 grand? I know I could. And I know exactly how much I used to spend on life insurance leads and chargebacks. That sucked. You offer me 20 grand a month residually. Happy kid. Like I said, I'll go live in Thailand, Cancun. I'll go live somewhere else. Real relaxed, real quiet, handle everything virtually. Life's good. So those are some of my tips and tricks that I personally use in my own agency. And like I said, my average full-time agent is doing roughly 50 lives a week. My part-time guys are doing about 15 to 25. My what I call machine agents are doing like 75 to 100. And I'm like, please go take like a Sunday and go hang out with your family. But one joke I like to make in my industry, or like this specific subset of health insurance, is if you like your family, you're going to love ACA because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. I even told a story about that at the mastermind that Jeffrey put on over the weekend. And it was about a father who actually spends time with his children now versus when he was a life insurance agent, he physically couldn't. He was in the field 6 days a week. He was tired on the 7th day. And I'm like, dude, the guy would go to church, he'd probably fall asleep at the pew. Most likely. I don't know if that's true or not. If you don't like your family, you probably don't want to do ACA because you're going to spend a lot of time with them, right? So you probably just need to go find a new family at that point. That's a joke. Please don't do that. If somebody gets divorced over ACA and they blame me, I'm going to cry. So don't do that. But it's just a very interesting concept. Everyone wants work-life balance. Everyone wants financial freedom. Everybody wants, the true American dream. You can do that with ACA, but you can't do that with ACA alone. You need to have another product line or another service to offer them to make sure you can have that upfront money for the cash burn in the first 3 months. But that's my piece. You guys can find me in Insurance Syndicate. You can find me anywhere on social media, honestly, because I'm everywhere. And I'll hand it back to Tony in case we have more questions from folks in the comments. But that's really the piece. ACA isn't as difficult as people make it out to be. The biggest barrier to entry, like I said multiple times, is cash burn in the very beginning. You can figure that part out. ACA, it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff. We did have one quick question that popped up. Somebody was asking if you offer leads.
So we do offer leads. We offer them internally for our own agents. We do offer them externally. It's just the external side is a little bit difficult. We have a CRM that's fully automated, that the leads are automatically dropped into. They get warm marketed. They get nurtured. Could you buy the leads just buying the leads without the CRM or without being my agent? Of course you can, but the lead quality won't be as good because they're not getting warmed up like they usually would.
You get most of your leads through Facebook, I guess?
Yeah, right now it's really heavy on the Facebook side. We are doing some SEO now as well going into open enrollment. However, the Facebook side has been the most scalable. The SEO, we're going to see what happens. And what I'm doing actually right now is I'm blind dropping Facebook leads and SEO leads. And I'm waiting to see, and like, I don't tell my agents the difference. I'm waiting to see what they say in terms of which quality is better. And that's kind of one that we might focus on a little bit more. Sure. Because the unfortunate thing for a lot of us who were in the business in 2020, remember when the elections came out and they were dropping like millions of dollars in ad money on Facebook? Well, how did our lead cost or returns look like on Facebook?
Pretty bad.
The best. So if you want to
direct mail too.
Oh yeah, everything sucked that year. Oh, it was not very fun. Like those 3 months, it was impossible to do anything. We have midterms coming up, so we're very curious to see how lead costs change for a lot of these online vendors across all sectors of insurance. So we are trying to push more into the SEO side. That's a much more levelized way. I have seen some folks doing YouTube leads for ACA where like they have like a short 30-second video. The conversion rate for YouTube leads and my Facebook leads is about the same. The YouTube leads are about $8 more though. So it's like you start looking at your profit loss and it's like it's still cheaper for me to get my Facebook leads over time.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Man, this has been a fantastic training. If you guys have some more questions, pop them in there. Pop them in quick. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up pretty quick. I think Michael did a fantastic job, as was commented on and by a few people. Man, where did you learn to, because like you were this digital life insurance agent mastermind. This is you told me, you confessed that this was your first time on stage.
Yeah.
And dude, you were so incredibly confident and casual, and you had phenomenal stage presence, and you delivered great material. Same thing here. Like, where did you learn this? Come on, man.
So truth be told, man, I want to be a comedian someday. It's like, dude, the amount of material I think all of us in the life insurance world or like any insurance world can talk about, just funny stuff. I want to be a comedian. You kind of learn how to like work a room. You know how to have fun. The truth of the matter was I was a officer in the military, and I used to brief rooms of, hundreds of soldiers at a time. And I started doing that when I was like 18, 19 years old. Right.
Oh, wow.
I'm 26 now. Like I had many years of was just like standing in front of a room. I'm the officer. Everyone kind of like listens. They're like, oh man, what's going on? Right. So it just comes naturally over time. How are you going to be a good leader if you can't talk in front of your soldiers? Right.
100% true, man. 100% true. Hey, we did have another question pop in real quick. What is the average an agent should spend weekly on ACA leads?
So that's a really good question. What we say our minimum threshold is $500 a week on leads. The reason because this is like the corniest line a vendor does, but it's like the more you spend, the better return you'll see, because every lead batch you have some turkeys, you have some like Jordan Belfort said it the best, I believe, in The Way of the Wolf. He's like, you have your job is not to turn no's into yeses. Your job is to turn maybes into yeses, and then the yeses into yeses. I mean, if you can't do that, you're in the wrong profession. But he says the maybes need to turn into yeses. The no's you might get once. You might get one every once in a while. $500 is the minimum. You'll have like your bottom threshold. They'll never respond. They died as soon as they filled out the Facebook lead. Like they clicked send and they had a stroke right there, and that was it. You'll never contact them, right? You'll have the batch who like you have to call them about like 8 to 9 times, right? You have to get like Facebook, you have to get marketing drip on them for a month before they're like, yeah, call me, I need this health insurance thing. Then you have the ones you buy immediately. So off of $500 lead spend, my average agent will write about like 25 to 30 heads, like 25 to 30 lives every week. By the way, lives and applications are two very different things in the ACA space. I got flamed very early on because I was like, yeah, I wrote like 100 applications. They're like, Jesus Christ, how many people? I'm like, 100. They're like 100 single people. I'm like, no. And then I was like, okay, I wrote 100 lives. So you're here or there. My full-time agents are closer to 750 to 1,000 a week. My agents who have basically all the cash flow in the world and they just need somewhere to dump it, they're about 1,500 a week. We tell people don't go higher than 1,500 because at that point, not only will the Facebook algorithm just eat your money, but the that's kind of like we've seen like the bell curve, and it starts to drop drastically at 1,500. It does actually start to drop at 1,000, but if you need the volume, you go to 1,500. So 500 is the minimum. 750 to 1,000 is kind of the sweet spot we found over the last 6 months, and then anything over 1,500 is kind of a waste of money. Don't do that, or find a separate ad account, one or the other.
Interesting. Right on. Man, well, thank you so much for coming in, dude. This has been a fantastic call. I truly appreciate it. What I think you mentioned it, but just reinforce it. What is if people want to find Michael Binyaminov, they want to chat with you, maybe work with you, or just pick your brain some more, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Truth be told, man, it's Facebook.
Yeah.
I have so many spam calls that come to my phone number now. I think it's because I put myself out there so much that I have people from, like, I don't know, Mexico, like, would you like to support a starving child? I'm like, I'm a starving child. What are you doing calling me? Don't start this with me. So find me on Facebook. My name is right here, Michael Binyaminov. I'm in Insurance Syndicate. I also help manage 3 or 4 of the other largest Facebook insurance groups out there. You'll see me everywhere. You can shoot me a DM, even if we're not friends. I still look through my message requests because I get tons of those now specifically for ACA. Like I said, I'm happy to help 99.9% of people. It's the 0.001% who are like, hey, man, you want to buy my leads? I'm like, no, buddy, I do leads already, and I think I do them better than you probably.
Absolutely. Well, man, thank you again for coming on. As Joe pointed out, you are one of the group experts here in the Insurance Syndicate, so we do appreciate your time, and we appreciate y'all's time for tuning in, man. Thank you all so much. If you want to chat with Mike, just look him up on Facebook. He is a treasure. If you're ever out there at an event and you see this guy, go out of your way to talk to him. I promise you, whether you're picking his brain on insurance stuff or you just want to hang out with someone that's a wealth of knowledge and fun to hang out with, Mike is the guy. I got to chill out with him quite a bit while we were up in Vegas. We played some blackjack together. We played some craps together. We ate Spanish tapas together, right? And we coached up a group. Like we had a good time, and we drank our fair share of vodka too. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been a phenomenal Tuesday training. Look for us next week because we are here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central, spotlighting the industry's top insurance professionals and experts. Next week, we're going to have the superstar himself, Nate Offord, on the group. So
oh, wow.
That'll be another great training. Look forward to that one. Not really sure what he's going to train on, but I have a feeling it's probably going to do something with your subconscious mind. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. We'll see. But, man, this has been a phenomenal one. Thank you again, Nate. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week on Tuesday training. Have a great day.